All right, moving on to question 3. We had a question that came over from Instagram, and they just wanted to create a set of black flash frames. All right, so this is a fun one. So they just essentially want it to flash a couple times black. So to do this, I recommend zooming in a little bit, which again I used Command plus a little bit ago. You can also hit the Z key to bring up the zoom tool. And if you click and drag on an area, it'll actually zoom right into that spot of the timeline. So if we want just a couple black flash frames to come up here, there's a few ways to do it. One is to just cut out a couple frames. So the way I'm going to do that is get my razor blade, just hitting the B key, and I'm going to click, 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 just clicking a bunch of times on the timeline here, right, to cut this clip up. And then each time I want it to flash black, I'm going to select the clip, and instead of just hitting the delete key on the keyboard, if you hold the function key, which is the little FN key. On my keyboard, it's in the lower left corner. Yours, it might be somewhere else. But the function and delete key is the same thing as hitting the really small delete key if you're on a full extended keyboard. But when you do that, it deletes the clip and leaves a gap clip. You should be able to go up to the edit menu here, and it says replace with gap. So that's what we're doing. We're essentially deleting the clip and replacing it with a gap clip, which is just an empty clip, and when there's no clip, it's just going to go to black, right? So then if I play through this, what do we have? 4 flashes there, so let's zoom out, and we'll see that. Let's play it one more time. And you can see I cut the audio as well, so that's cutting the audio as well, and that's flashing through the black flash frames there, essentially getting that effect. Another way you can do this, if you don't want to cut up the clip, I'm going to do Command Z a bunch of times to get rid of all my cuts there, is because you might not want to affect the audio, right? You might want to keep the audio the same, but you can also do this just changing the opacity. So I'm going to do Control V. Control V is in Victor. That brings up my video animation section here. I'm going to go to my opacity, and I can do the same thing. I can just add a bunch of keyframes here for the opacity. And I'm going to drag 2 of these down. I'll drag this over. That should be good. And what you'll notice here is the same thing. Essentially, we're dropping the opacity and going black for just a section. And now I'm going to hold Shift and click on all these keyframes. I'm going to do Command C to copy the keyframes. And then I can go and paste them. So I'm going to do Command V. Get my keyframe again. And we'll paste the keyframes. I actually think I need to use a different shortcut here. So let's go up to Edit, and we'll do Copy, and then we'll go down here, do Edit. I thought I had to paste keyframes here. Maybe I have to do it. So yeah, I think you have to actually do Edit, and then copy the keyframes, and then you can do Edit, and again, there's a keyframe menu, and then Paste, which is Option Shift V. So we'll do Option Shift V. In Victor, paste those keyframes. And this I'm just doing really rough. You could paste these anywhere, but now if we play it, we'll get that same effect. Only this time, we're getting that effect without impacting the audio in any way. We're also not making a whole bunch of edits unnecessarily on the timeline. So this is a nice way to do it using the opacity change to create those black flashes, because then you don't have to worry about having a whole bunch of cut up clips and all that kind of stuff. So that was the question on Instagram. I hope that answers it. You either use that blade to make a bunch of cuts, and then you can delete using function delete to delete the clips and leave a gap behind, which will leave that and allow you to create that flash. Or you can go in and show the video animation and change the opacity, apply keyframes using the opacity change to create those black flash frames. All right, the next one is a good one. This one is one that came from a friend of mine. They essentially added an audio effect